Hi, this is Pete. I want to do a review on in-car DVR cameras. For most people, there's a lot of cameras to choose from out there, but there's only, in my opinion, 2 cameras or 3 that are any good. The rest to me are just a waste of time and money. The first camera that I'll show you that I bought that was the cheap end of the market was this one. I paid £30 for this one. You can get this sometimes for about £20, and some people are charging ridiculous amounts of money for £60–70. Image quality not too bad. It is full HD, but to me the quality is still not very good. I don't have the camera anymore because after 6 months it did pack up and doesn't work anymore. I've kept the box for some reason, so obviously today just for illustration purposes. I do drive a truck as well, and I try to use this camera in the truck, but because the camera is so bulky you can't get it close to the windscreen. So obviously therefore for me it was just a no-go. So I did use it in a car for a time. But it's just, like I say, it just packed up after a while. I thought it was the internal battery, so I replaced that, but it still wasn't switching on when you turn the ignition on, so you had to turn the camera on manually. Now unless you remember to do that, it's no good really. So that was, I think, £30 or £40 for 6 months, which is a bit of a waste. But at the time I wasn't sure where I was going to go with the in-car cameras. The only reason I purchased an in-car camera was because I had a crash for cash incident in 2009, which unfortunately I got the blame for, which was ridiculous, but we'll not go into that. And I got banned for 12 months. So because I didn't want this to happen again, I wanted to purchase an in-car camera so I can capture anything that happens and obviously prove my innocence. You know, it's a shame we have to do this nowadays, but you know, there's more and more people out there causing accidents on purpose to get money. It's an easier way for most people, and this seems to be on the increase. Now because this is on the increase, these cameras are coming out more and more often. I mean, there's a lot on eBay. You can troll through them all, and it's a minefield trying to work out what sort of camera you're going to need to do the job. As I say, this camera wasn't too bad, but it just wasn't, I don't know, ticking all the right buttons for me. So I did a lot of research on the internet onto what camera would be a half decent camera, you know, that I can rely on, and add some sort of warranty with it. And the only one at the time that was standing out was Roaddog cameras, the DC1 at the time, because the Roaddog HD wasn't released. And what was the other one? MyView. But I'll touch on that subject in a moment. I didn't buy that camera, but I have read into a bit about it. And there's another one I've just discovered recently, which is this one, MyView, which is actually quite a decent camera. But I'll get onto that one shortly after I've told you about the other 2. So eventually I did manage to get enough money together to buy a Roaddog DC1. Now I do have the Roaddog HD here as well as the DC1, but the DC1 was the first camera I bought. Now the DC1 is a very good camera, but as you can see, it's got GPS and everything. You get all the software with it. Obviously it maps it, tells you your speed, current location and everything, all singing, all dancing. The only problem I do find with the Roaddog DC1 is the image quality isn't the best. I mean, what I find, I mean, please leave comments if you agree or not, is that sometimes if you're in a built-up area, if you're passing trees or houses, the more information it tries to get through the lens, the more pixelated it gets. So obviously then the quality of the image is just Absolutely, it's not very good at all. As for proving of a crash, yeah, you know, no problem at all proving that side of things, but for me the image quality just wasn't quite there. But very good camera and all, plus you get a 2-year warranty with it, which was the big selling feature for me, because I just, you know, if anything goes wrong you can send the device back. And the lads down there at Bodmin at Roaddog are very good. You know, they tend to look after you with any faults or issues. But it's not a bad bit of kit, to be fair. And this DC1 has not let me down. Now, Roaddog at that point was saying that they was going to make a HD version, and I was quite looking forward to that, because you don't always have to have an accident to need evidence. It could be road rage, it could be someone trying to ram you, pretending to try and ram you, or slamming the brakes on in front of you. Now, I always thought with the DC1, sometimes you can never read the registration plates that are in front of you. And sometimes this is all you need to report somebody for careless or dangerous driving. If you need to. Now, the DC1 I think lets you down on that. The only time you get a decent image from the DC1 is if you stood still. Now, some instances you may not be stood still, and this is where the DC1 let us down. But every other aspect of it is you know, very good camera. Like I said, I was waiting for the Roaddog HD, which did eventually come out, and this is it. The image quality on this, if you're going to try and look for something on the internet, you'll never beat the Roaddog HD. What a camera. It runs in full HD as well as 720 HD. Great bit of kit. The nighttime footage is epic as well. The only problem I've had with this, and I'd like people to leave comments if they've got this camera and experienced it themselves, is when you turn on your ignition on the car, it's supposed to power up straight away. Now, Roaddog know about this and they're trying to iron this problem out. I am actually sending this camera back today to get it replaced, because apparently there is now an uprated voltage version for those who are struggling with the same problem I'm having, which, like I say, is the when you switch the ignition on, it's not powering on, so you have to press the emergency button and then it powers on. Now, sometimes I'm forgetful, or you have your music on loud and you don't hear it power on, you know, and then obviously as you're driving down the road, if it's not powered on and something happens, you know, what can you do? So to me, it's a bit unreliable on that aspect of things. Apart from that, the camera is just epic. It really is epic. And I'm hoping that the lads at Roaddog, you know, we get this sorted, because there's not many cameras out there on the market that are as good as the Roaddog HD camera. In fact, there isn't any really. There's one that I'd say that's on par with it, but you know, some folks might not agree with me on that one. But in my opinion, the Roaddog HD is epic. Moving on from these two, I bought a camera that I use in the truck, which I bought this one from Halfords, the MyView 388. Now this retails £200. I mean, it does say there that it has the speed camera alerts on there, but to me that's just a waste of time. And I find that sometimes the GPS on it telling you where the cameras are isn't that accurate, which isn't a worry because I didn't buy the camera for that. The nighttime image quality on this is just epic. I have got a video on my page if you want to look at the nighttime footage, but this little camera for trucking or for car driving, whatever, is just unbelievable. Especially for £200. There's a bracket on top there and you just slide it on as you power on and off, and it runs on a micro USB micro SD card, and the image quality is just awesome. And I'd say this is on par with the Roaddog HD, even though I think the Roaddog HD has got a slight edge to it on the high definition department. Oh, what was I going to say about the Roaddog as well? I can't remember. God, doing these YouTube things does my head in. But anyway, the top 2 cameras I would recommend, I would only use the Roaddog DC1. Forget how much it is now. I think it's about 220 quid. I could be wrong, it could be cheaper or more. It's around that figure, and I think the Roaddog HD is slightly more. I would buy this and use in the car as a rear camera, even though you probably don't need a rear camera, but I'd use that as a rear camera, which is what I do at the moment. So that's set up in the back of the car, and I use this as a front facing camera. But like I say, this will be the return to Roaddog today to get the uprated power version one, which is supposed to cure the ignition problem when you switch the engine on, and then it should power on straight away. But like I say, at the moment it's not doing that, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but you know, it needs to be more reliable than what it is being. But as an all round camera, epic, absolutely epic. And as I say, this MyView is also a very good camera, an alternative to the Roadhawk. Now in my opinion, what you're looking at here is 3 of the best cameras on the internet at the moment. Yeah, and these are the only 3 that I would buy. Obviously to the left you've got the Roaddog HD and DC1, which is 2-year warranty, and also epic cameras, but the Roaddog HD especially is just the top of its game. Now there is MyWitness out there as well, and what I would recommend is, if you do get the Roaddog HD, run it on 720 at 60 frames per second. In my opinion, you're getting a better quality image than you do in full HD, because in full HD it's only 30 frames per second, which to me doesn't run as smooth. Same with the MyView, even though it runs at full HD, I would still set it at 720 and run it at 60 frames a second. Now with MyWitness, I did call these guys up and ask them if you can change the settings in theirs, and you can't. It only runs at full HD at 30 frames a second. Now to me that's no good, and I like to change the settings if I can. I mean, Roaddog HD's took it to a different level where you can change all sorts, but I think that's an unnecessary thing. As long as you can change the frame rate and the quality of the image, I think that's all we need on a camera. Basically what they should have done is just done the DC1 but made it HD, not messed about with it too much, but hey, that's my opinion. But the MyView 388 is another epic camera. So in my point of view, these are the 3 in-car DVR, if you want to call them, or in-car cameras that, if anyone's looking for them, is to buy any one of these cameras. First choice would be the Roaddog HD. The second choice would be the MyView 388, because the nighttime footage on that is just epic as well. And the daytime footage is really good, but the nighttime is epic. They've really nailed it, MyView, with the nighttime footage. And then the third camera I would purchase would be the DC1, but I'd only really buy the DC1 as a rear end camera if you're going to buy one for the car. But yeah, if anyone wants any more questions about either of these cameras, just leave a comment. I mean, this is the first YouTube review I've ever done, so it's going to be a bit shady, but you know, I'm not somebody who's from a magazine who reviews these types of thing and, you know, gets paid to give certain answers. This is just my review on what I've purchased and what I've bought, and I can only review what I'm obviously what I've seen these cameras do, and these cameras are awesome. I mean, yeah, the DC1 has its faults, and at the moment the Roaddog HD has a fault that's annoying me. Like I said, not powering up when the ignition turns on, but that only happens occasionally, so I'll hopefully get that rectified today when I send it back. But like I say, with having the 2-year warranty, it's not an issue. And the MyView is an epic all-round camera. There is arguments now, I think, on the internet where they say that you can't have a screen running while you're driving, and I think if I'm right with the MyView, there is an option that as soon as you start rolling, the screen turns off. So there is that option on there. So you've got your MyView at £200. You've got your Roaddog, I think now it's £250. I'm not 100%, but it's around that figure. And then your DC1, which is cheaper, around the £220 mark, I think. but all these cameras are epic. But the MyView and the Roaddog HD run in full HD. The DC1 doesn't. And in my opinion, if you're going to spend any money, it's on these two cameras, Roaddog HD and the MyView 388, because they see every detail. Very good cameras, and I recommend a 32 gig in each card. These will both hold a 64 gig card. If you can get a 64, do so, because it will hold more days. I think currently with the MyView and the Roaddog running at 720 60 frames a second, it's only holding a day's information, and that's on a 32 gig card before it starts overwriting. So maybe you should look at a 64 gig card. But apart from that, epic cameras. Don't go anything for anything like this cheap and budget. You're just wasting your money. And there's a lot of these on eBay where you think, oh great, that'll do. But then if it's packing up in 3 or 6 months time, you're spending £30–40 again for another camera. We waste the money. You may as well just go all out and get one of these guys here. You'll not regret it. Actually the DC1 has paid for itself more than once. A guy had a bag of loose chippings on the back of his truck, put a few stone chips in the windscreen. I contacted his boss, showed him the video evidence, and I got a new windscreen out of it. £350 worth of windscreen. So the DC1's paid for itself already. So I hope that helps anybody out there who wants to buy an in-car DVR or in-car camera, whatever you want to call them. Like I say, if you've got any comments at all, just, if you're unsure about things, just drop me a line and ask me, and I'll try and fill you in as much as I can. Yeah, so I'll leave it at that. So cheers guys, and I hope this helps somebody who's decided to buy an in-car camera, because there's a lot more cash for crash happening out there, more insurance fraud. So I would recommend any of these three cameras: DC1, Roaddog HD and MyView 388, all top cameras. Cheers guys.